Hey guys, today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the dangers of marketing systems in restaurants. I'm going to use the idea of a little caterpillar. So it's a very, very hungry caterpillar, and we might all know this from our childhoods, but as the little hungry caterpillar grows and grows and grows, and it's eating and eating and eating, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and one day it becomes a massive butterfly. You probably think I'm insane right now. It's probably true, but I've created many restaurant marketing systems over the years, and I know that they can be extremely effective. So I'm going to talk about the dangers for the clients, which are the restaurants, and the dangers for the marketers as well, because this is something really, really important that people understand, and it's very, very important that they understand this before they sign up and before you sign up somebody. First of all, you're going to need to explain to them that no matter what, this is a system that can be controlled, so we can turn up the heat and we can turn down the heat, depending on what we put into the campaign, right? Customers are tracked right from the moment that they first sign up with us, and they're tracked through every stage of the buying process, and we know when they buy in the future as well. We know how much money a certain customer has made over time. We track absolutely everything, every step of the way. We know where they sleep at night. We know what they had for dinner yesterday. You know, we know everything about these customers. Okay, we don't know that much. We're not that creepy. Well, I might be, but you know, other marketers aren't. They're better. So when it comes down to it, we have, as marketers, we've got a huge amount of knowledge about each individual customer, and we can track all of the money and everything that's being earned by this marketing system. So the marketing system's kind of like a snowball rolling down the hill, gathering up snow. And what we've got to do is, as a marketer, we've got to make sure that the hill keeps going, and keeps going, because otherwise, smack, the snowball's going to splat and everything's going to go everywhere. So, what are the dangers, you're probably thinking? I get the idea of the snowballing effect, so things are going to increase over time. Well, the first month, people aren't going to see many results in the UK. You know why? Because this is not an American marketing system. A lot of these techniques are very Americanized. There are a lot of amazing Americans out there creating fantastic systems. So what we've got to do is we've got to take into account we've got a completely different culture here. People won't necessarily trust signing up in the same way. So that's an immediate roadblock that we have to beat as marketers. And we do beat it, but it just takes a little bit more time. Because people have to develop trust, they have to show other people, they have to share things out, and you have to grow organically without too much force. Because if you're a forceful marketer over here, people don't want anything to do with it. All right, but I've made several marketing systems in the United States, and selling in the US is an absolute breeze. I absolutely love Americans to bits, because Americans, the thing is, if they love a product, they will love that product with, real spirit, But in the UK, it's like, I really like that product. It does look like a good product, but do I really need this product? And that's a really big problem. So when it comes down to it, we have dangers. So in the first month, let's say we get £1,000 a month coming in for the first month. Now, we're charging, say, 500 a month. 500. Is this worth it for the restaurant? Hell no, it's not worth it for the restaurant, because they've got expenses. They've got to pay staff. They've got to pay for gas, electricity, everything that they need to make their restaurant work. Right? They need to pay. They've got perishable goods. Perishables are dangerous. That's the most dangerous part of restaurant marketing. Perishables. So the restaurant is going to think, well, I'm not getting a lot the first month. This is why you need a contract. This is why you need to say this is something that it takes several months for it to gather momentum. The hungry caterpillar needs to grow over time. It can't just become a butterfly. That's not how this works. If it becomes a butterfly too quickly, there is absolute mayhem as well. Let's say we had a restaurant a while back, and within 3 months they were on 3,000 to 4,000 a week, right? 3,000 to 4,000 a week. Everything was turn up the gas, everything all over the place. Big city, easy money, right? And guess what happened? We got fired. We got fired. Even though we can track everything, right? We got fired. You know why? They hired extra chefs. They hired extra waiters. All right? Because you need chefs every day of the week. They tried to hire on part-time, so they got multiple chefs. This is a really big problem. They had like part-time waiters join because you can avoid certain expenses if you have part-time workers. So they had multiple waiters that they had to hire and everything, and they were covering everything. They were really, really busy, and it's like, when we were working with them, we would go in and look, and we were running the system, and loads and loads of people everywhere, right? Surging morass of human flesh, just eating away. It was brilliant. And they were so happy. It's like, give it a few months, we go back. They got rid of us. Sad story. It's a ghost town. Where are the new waiters? They're gone. Where are the chefs? Gone. So what did the restaurant do? Did they hire us back? No. They hired another marketing firm which wasn't doing a good job for them. They were paying them the same money. Thing is, we're restaurant marketing specialists, can do just about everything, but restaurants are the speciality, right? Now, the thing is, they can't take us back anyway, because people aren't going to trust the system if it's not been running. They'll trust something if it's rolling in the background. Maybe it's a bit unfamiliar to them, but they familiarize themselves with it. Thing is, if they start using a completely different method of advertising and a different method of marketing, it's not necessarily going to work. And there we've got a problem. We could have been something, I don't care really. As a marketer, it's like, yeah, we lost about £500 worth of setup because it costs, overall, when we're setting up a system like this, technically it costs us about £3,000 to set it up in terms of time, effort, the systems that we have to pay for, all of the money. We put all of our trust into the first month, right? And we basically trust that we're going to be paid over the next couple of months in order for this system to have value for us. And if a client doesn't trust the system, why the hell would we take them back? Because they've just cost us money, so we can't do that. And they can't just pick up the system again next month. It's not something like that. Something completely new is going to have to be delivered because people are no longer going to trust the system at that point. Unless, of course, it's just been like 1 month that's passed. You can get away with that, right? 1 month little break in advertising. And that's why we do retain the information, but that's part of the contract which when we sign up with people sign up with us, sorry. That's the thing. It's like a system like this is very, very dangerous because if they hire people, they've got to be prepared to deal with the traffic, and they have to understand that we can turn down the heat on the traffic a little bit and control things a little bit better. Maybe make the deals a little bit less amazing so it reduces the people coming in so that the flow remains constant. Because it is better for a restaurant, to make, say, 3,000, 4,000 a month out of people and just, have that ticking on steady. Because they're making money, we're making money. Together we are something beautiful, baby. It's better that we're getting less money per month than they immediately invest in new cooks, chefs, waiting staff and other things for the restaurant, maybe get a new Lamborghini, So these costs need to be controlled. So as a marketer, I recommend, if you're a restaurant owner watching this and you want somebody to set up a system, don't go with me because I don't want to deal with this kind of stuff. I don't like this kind of marketing. All right, there are plenty of people you can go with, but don't contact me. So if you're a restaurant owner and you can contact a good restaurant marketer to set up a system for you and get it all in place, all right, and you can trust that they will get it working over a few months, talk with your marketer, understand, get a communication going. Can you turn up the heat? Can you turn down the heat? Can you control the flow of traffic to the restaurant? We can't control it completely, but we can control it a little bit. And that's all that we need to do. We only need that little tiny bit of control. Pretty control. But as the marketer, you need to explain to the restaurant, and they need to understand this almost every time you go in. They need to understand that they can make it better, they can make it worse, they can control who's coming in and who's going out. But the most important thing is they need to understand that if they increase their expenses, they are not going to be able to afford the campaign. And in some cases, I often think maybe we should be charging more money for these kind of things, because then we'd have our payments whittled off quicker, like for setting up the campaign and for running it, and that would be controlled better. It's like, that would probably be a better thing to charge more money, but then again, nobody's going to trust that you're going to be able to do the job if that continues. So that, like, increasing the money that we'd charge for the campaigns would probably stop people from buying too many extra waiters, etc. But at the end of the day, it's one of those things where when you're working on a system like this, the main dangers are that the restaurant becomes overconfident. And overconfidence is really, really bad with this kind of thing, because if you're relying on an entire system, the second you rip that infrastructure out, or you remove part of it, you're going to damage the amount of people coming into the restaurant. It's like going into a ghost town feels so weird. It's like you got someone in the background cleaning a glass, you've got the manager sitting there at the table pulling their hair out, waiting for the customers. And these are places that are packed, right? So when you think about it, you've got to not work on getting a place packed and full every day as a marketer. Don't do that. Make sure that they get a nice, plentiful supply, and make sure that the client knows that you can make that better or worse depending on what their expenses are, what they can cope with. But the important thing is, this is something that really needs to be grown over time, so that basically at the end of the day, we've got to be very careful as the hungry caterpillar, right? Going back to the hungry caterpillar, we've got to eat with the restaurant, we've got to grow with the restaurant. They bring in clients, we're bringing people in, they feed the clients, and the caterpillar grows and grows, and then it becomes beautiful butterfly, and we can grow and flow with the restaurant. And one of the beautiful things is, it's like there are restaurants that we've worked with for years, as marketers, and we haven't set up these amazing campaigns for them, but we set up a campaign that's good enough for the restaurant to have the people that they need to be happy. Because if a restaurant owner can put their feet up at the end of the day and say, oh, I've got decent customers coming in every month, I'm happy with my lot in life, It's not exceptionally busy, it's busy enough for them to be able to go on holiday every couple of months to a nice place, bring the whole family, get married, whatever. That's great, right? And that's the ideal world. You don't want one where they've just bought a mansion in the South Pacific, and then they turn around and say to you, yeah, but what's my money getting me? It's like, mate, you got a new Lamborghini Aventador, man. It's like, you got 3 Bugattis in your garage. We bought you 15 Palaces. You're complaining about the $500 a month that you're spending on our marketing campaign, so we get rid of that, and all of a sudden they're having to sell Palaces and Lamborghinis everywhere. Okay, we've never been that amazing with things, but if we were working with like a chain of restaurants, we probably could do that. But oh my god, I wouldn't want to deal with all that nonsense. Anyway, that's my little bit of a rant about things. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I know I'm a little bit weird, but who cares, right? All marketers are weird. It's like when we dress up in our suits and everything, putting on this mask, because all marketers are like golem-like creatures that just sit there in their underpants all day. It's like covered in human sludge that seeps out of our bodies. It's just like, when you're talking to them over the phone, yes, I'm a professional marketer. And actually what you're talking to is some sort of horrifying beast that's lying there just covered in pizza that's some of it's been there for a couple of weeks. Some of it, like they've got a human crust on them. And it's like, so you get into a meeting, there's like a training montage, we go out, we get a bit of exercise, and all of a sudden we can show up in a nice sharp suit. And then we go back to being Jabba the Hutt the next day when no one's around. But that's the beautiful thing about marketing. We can present the idea of the perfect person, right? The perfect restaurant, the perfect business. That's what we do. I like to tweak it a little bit personally, rather than doing the perfect thing, because if we're doing the perfect thing, there are problems with that. Because the second you make one spelling mistake, that's bad. Or is it? Maybe that's another video. I think that's another video. Anyway, I'll catch you later. Bye!